Okay, again, we're at our Texas Sandbox site today. We want a big shout out to Rustin Paving. They're beautiful blue motor grader, that's their color. So we got a Cat 12M out here. They actually brought it out for an event, and we've had a lot of people request us to do a how to operate a motor grader. First things first, as I tell you guys with any of our training videos, I am not an expert. I'm going to show you kind of what I've learned. We've already done a pre-site inspection. We know the site. We also done our pre-op inspection on this motor grader. Now I'm going to go through the basic controls. A motor grader is not something that I am an expert on, but I also think it's valuable for you guys to see me learning and also see the controls plus comment below. So I'm going to go through the stuff I've learned, show you the very basics. This would be a very intro level one. And hopefully you guys can learn some from it. So let's go ahead and check this out. So first things, 3 points of contact. Anytime you get in or out of equipment, step in there, all the way up. And the graders have a door lock here. Swing that door around. There we go. Now again, this is it's a Cat 12M motor grader, so this is a joystick operated one. So I'll go over the controls here. Keys right up front, one click over, and starting it up. So first thing, I'm just checking my display, make sure don't have any warning signs, anything like that. Parking brake is probably the most important. Red P right up there. Parking brake switch on this model is right there in front. Well, each one's a little bit different, but it'll have a parking brake or something to show you that the machine is not going to go anywhere. So now with this, again, motor graders are probably the most complex. And again, you're going to see today, I am not an expert. I'm not even really that good an operator. I know other equipment can run a dozer. A lot of it's just operating a blade. So a dozer and a motor grader are really similar. Motor graders just a little bit faster. They have a bigger blade. They're used for longer passes. That's why Rustin Paving they do a lot of highway work, things like that. That's why they use graders. You know, dozers are something that could be on a smaller site or doing angles, things like that. Again, Rustin Paving, Jeff from Rustin Paving kind of gave me some training today on this. Again, I've been in a few different motor graders, but Jeff was a big help, so shout out. Thank you, Jeff and Rustin Paving, for letting us shoot a video on it to kind of show you it. So. Now our machine, there's 3 foot controls down here. The clutch is the left, brake is the center, and then right is your throttle on there. So those are your 3 different pedals there. And then this one's joystick operated. So again, some of the newer graders have joysticks instead of a steering wheel. I've also been in the others with a steering wheel, and they got a whole bank of levers because there are a lot of different blade angles and pitches you can do. So they're fairly complex machines. As with anything, practice, the only way you get really good at it. So with this, left is primarily your driving, and then right is primarily your blade control. That is pretty consistent on, again, same thing as a dozer, and even the wheel loaders to an extent. Left is kind of always your driving, right is always your tool control. So with this one, with your left, you basically this one's got a shifter, forward, neutral, reverse, under my left hand here. You can see I'm on the display, it says neutral. And then on the top is these yellow buttons. These will basically let me shift. It's got, I believe 6 gears. Typically, you're always going to be in 1 for any kind of grading. The only times you'd be in the 3, 4, 5 is when you're going any distances to travel with this thing. And then you've got this will tilt on the left joystick here. This will angle your wheels left and angle them right. So you'll see the front wheels will actually pitch. So that's primarily used, so if you're driving, if they're pulling a grade on this and the machine's trying to get pulled one way, typically they're going to angle in to basically let it bite in a little bit so it holds that angle. So that's the main reason you would use those one way or the other. The other piece you have, the wheel motor grader will actually articulate one way or the other. So we got left and right there. Again, if you don't want to be on your windrow or something like that, they may go off a little bit sideways there so their back tires aren't driving on their basically spill pile, what they're pushing off. And then there is kind of a return to center here on the top left here. So that's our left joystick. The right is our blade control. And before I move over, the only on the left there is to raise and lower. So if I pull both of these, This is the raise and lower. So this one on the right is my right side raise and lower, and this is my left side, back and forth. So that is there is one minor little blade control, and it's pretty important, on your left joystick, so I'll push both those together. The rest of that on this right joystick, this will basically swing the blade one way, left or right. So that's you turn it. I'm turning this right joystick. You've also got your go left or right with the whole blade. You can kind of slide it left or right like that. You've also got, this will slide the blade kind of laterally like that, left and right, depending on where you're trying to get your material. So you'll see that moving that back and forth. And then you got your blade pitch. So you see you roll it down, I can roll it up both ways. Typically for a fine grade, the more the fine grade, you're kind of having this blade pitch down. But you know, if it's a rougher material, you're trying to get a little bit better bite in, you want to have that blade a little bit more vertical like that. So that's that. Other things on this, I'm not going to go over, there's a lot of other controls on these machines, but these are kind of the basics. I just want to go over the basic controls so you guys all can kind of learn how to operate one of these. Most important piece here, again, I'm going to put it in, we're going to take the parking brake off now. I'm going to put my clutch in, have my foot on the brake, up front there, parking brake now came off, so now I'm good. So I'm going to go ahead and with my shifter over here, if I pull down on this left trigger, I'm now in 1F. It'll usually tell you a speed right up on the display. And that, if I let go, you see I'll start rolling right away. And then on my left, I'm steering left and right. You'll see the tires will move one way or the other. Now, always start your grading. Generally, you want to be flat to the ground or stopped. So I'm going to bring both, I'm pushing both joysticks forward here to bring them down. And we don't want to get too, so I'll start with it a little bit more flattened and then I can roll it right about there. Now I'm in, I'm going to go ahead, let my foot off, I'm starting really slow, and I'm going to pitch it a little bit to the left. Now this is, and you've seen, if you haven't seen, we have a how to operate a dozer, which again, dozers, I really encourage new operators, look out in the horizon, don't get buried in the blade. The challenge with the motor grader or the blade is you're almost sitting on top of it. So you're really watching down, but I'm also glancing up, and I'm biting, going down a little bit with both joysticks. If it gets stuck or a little bit harder, I can roll that blade back a little bit. And you'll see it's really a seat of the pants kind of feel for a grade. You'll see I'm rolling some of that material. We're at our Texas site. It is extremely muddy out here. So this is definitely not the easiest. But I'm looking out off my nose here. I'm kind of seeing where my materials, and you always want to try and carry a load in front of that blade. So it's the same thing with a dozer, is if you're not carrying material, it's really difficult to fill in any of the low spots. And then I'm going to slowly start pulling it back, pitch it down there, so I can try and roll this. Again, we are so muddy here today that I'm not going to get this to come out smooth. So we almost really have to, I'm going to leave a spoil, kind of a dump pile here. Always going to stop. You don't want to take it out of gear. You always use your left foot pedal, bring that clutch in, raise it up, got the brake on, and then I'm going to click it into reverse. Reversing these, you got mirrors on both sides, looking over shoulder. I do have a backup camera, which you may or may not be able to see in this, and then we're going to start backing up. Shifter here, again, with my left, I'm in 1R for 1 reverse. If I just click up on it, it goes to 2. Looking in my mirrors, obviously, anytime you're backing up, making sure you're safe where you're going. And then after you push that again, I have got my blade set to the left, so I'm pulling all that material. Again, that's really knowing your sight, where you're trying to fill low spots. But eventually I'm going to try and cross over here. You can kind of see my grade out in front of me there. And then again, always stopping with my clutch. Back in neutral. Put it back into forward, okay? Now I'm back, dropping that blade down again. Both joysticks, again, if one were each one of those controls, I'm going to roll that blade back a little bit. Bring it down. Just kind of getting in a little bit there. We're in forward gear. And there we go. And again, I can twist to, right now I'm kind of doing the same angle here. And I'm watching, most importantly, off my nose. Left joystick is steering me. If I see I'm rolling some material on the left, so that's, I can see my rights. Again, it's just those little seat of the pants feel. It's really tough to explain. Best thing to do is get seat time. Shouldn't ever get out of, I'm in one. They do have a lock on the rear differentials too. That's sometimes, so all four. There's a trigger on this on the right joystick that'll help with traction control. You don't generally want to have that on when you're turning at all. But you'll see on this one I get a little light on there. Each machine's a little bit. But as I'm going, I'm going to try again. The more flattened out you have that blade, that's really more for a finish grade. I'm going to pull that up a little bit. Again, at this point, our material is not going to flow off, so I'm kind of just creating a dump pile. This would not, again, the conditions out here are not ideal, because generally you'd want to let this go off to a plane where it's kind of nice and even. So I stopped it again with my foot, and I'm putting it in reverse. Again, there's so many controls. This could be several videos here. You see my left joystick, that's all I'm doing is the turning left and right. The biggest thing I'll tell you, as again, I think I've told you, I am not an expert on this machine. Stick time. That's the best way you can get good on one of these machines is stick time. Stopping it there, put it back, blade back. And then again, if I did need to shift over my back, again, depending on where my back end is, you know, that's what, you can see how I'm kind of going sideways a little bit there. This can keep my rear tires out of, you know, if I have a windrow here, you can try and keep out of that a little bit so your rear tires aren't driving over it. That's typically why. And then again, if my machine's getting pulled, if I feel the machine getting pulled, that's where I can actually angle my tires. So you swing those tires and it'll really pull you in. Again, there's a lot of different moves you can do here. But I can kind of look off and see. And then I can bring it back to straight and bring my wheels back. Okay. Bring that up, stop it right here, set the blade down flat. Parking brake. Always make sure you've got that red parking indicator on there. Foot's off. Right there. Shut that machine off. Okay, folks, so that is our motor grader. Again, I think I said it repeatedly just because it's one of those things that I don't even have. I'm not an experienced operator in a motor grader. But I think what I've shown you there is the basics, is really if you want to know how to operate it, those were the basic controls on it. I would encourage, I'm sure we've got several viewers of this episode that can comment below. Let us know if you're an operator, any tips or tricks to how to get started with it. And again, big thanks to Rustin Paving, especially Jeff there that kind of showed me some today. You know, Rustin Paving came out for a group event. Hopefully we'll show a quick video here of that too. But thanks to Rustin Paving for coming out and letting us use this grader for a training. And yeah, thanks a lot. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching. See ya.